Okay, so I am back with another review. My review is of The Horseman by Welcome to Florespark by Rippaverse Comics. It is written by Chuck Dixon, illustrated by Joe Bennett. And this one, but I was really excited for because I'm a really big fan of street level characters. Huge Batman fan, huge Daredevil fan. Characters like that always, I like them because they're more grounded, more down to earth, more human. And to a lot of degrees you can relate to them, I guess. And there just seems to be a better storyline to those kinds of characters. Now, this book, I will say, there will be spoilers. After reading this, there will be spoilers. So if you don't like that, then I suggest you just turn off, go away, whatever. All right, you've been warned. Okay, so let's dive into this. The story centers around this character, the Horseman. He is not named the Horseman at the beginning of this. His name is Hector. Hector is a former United States Army veteran, airborne ranger, which I think is awesome because my father was an airborne ranger. My brother was an airborne ranger. My two cousins were airborne rangers. My grandfather is one of the first airborne rangers during World War II. So he's an airborne ranger living out of, I'm going to guess it's Illinois. And he comes back and from deployment or whatever, and his brother-in-law, his sister, who he's very close to, apparently has been injured, was injured and put in a wheelchair. And his brother-in-law, the father of his nephew, is dead. He was killed by a bunch of thugs. So he takes them in, and he starts providing for them, and he starts by providing for them by taking out drug dealers, gang members, and the like, and taking their money and using it to make ends meet. It starts out, the action is amazing, the artwork is phenomenal, the storyline is typical Chuck Dixon, and that is a good thing because you can sense it's like a very light Punisher storyline in all the best ways. I mean, this character, the costume I like, the fighting and the sequences in here I like. Everything about this is top notch. Anyway, the character eventually develops to where they end up. He realizes he's pissed off all the wrong people and he needs to get out. So he ends up going to Florespark in Texas. So while he's in Texas, he starts picking up where he left off. And he takes him and his sister and his nephew, and they go. And he starts doing what he did in Illinois, and sure enough, it brings some attention to him. He gets caught up in this huge thing, and this messed up situation with these two corrupt cops, and then he ends up being beholden to them for a little bit. What I love about this is that this is the most human storyline so far out of the Rippaverse. This is the most realistic storyline in the sense that it is a street level character. And I love the fact that he doesn't try to be a hero. He's just trying to take care of his sister and his nephew. He's trying to provide for his family. I like the fact that he admits that the only reason he does this is because this is the only skill set he knows. This is the only world he knows because of the army and being, deployed and all that other stuff. So this is what he uses this skill set to take care of his family. I like the villains in this. They're pretty cool. Like the big boss Tuna, he's really cool. He's a really interesting character for the brief time that he's there. Not interesting in like, oh wow, how complex. I mean, interesting in he's goofy, he's weird, and he's your typical gangster. He hires these two people, Sturm and Blitz, who end up being really fun to watch. And they're your typical, kind of remind me of the Tremors from Monsters Ball. That's the best way I could describe them. But Anyway, so basically, this all kicks off, and it comes to fruition where he gets away from the cops. And at the end of it, at the end of the whole story, Alpha Core shows up, which is awesome because I love Alpha Core. Braxwell, who's my favorite, shows up. Doesn't say anything, doesn't need to. Cool character. Solari gives him a break and says, okay, you're just hang up the, what do you call yourself anyway? And he's like, I don't know, I guess I'm the last horseman. And he's like, well, the horseman. And he's like, yeah, I like that. And then he eventually goes off and gets dropped off by Solari, telling him, as long as this is the last horseman's ride, we're good. You're free to go. And so he basically reunites with his family. And in the end, they leave it open to where he basically hangs up his helmet, but ends up not really doing that, obviously, because I just ordered the Horseman #1. So, okay, so the pros: artwork, story, coloring, which I wish I could see. My daughter said the coloring was really nice. Shade, all the tones and everything were very beautiful and put together. I like the fact that it's almost like Nightwing and Red Hood are hanging out with Punisher and Batman. So I mean, the tone is amazing. It's very family oriented, which I really like. That's something you don't see in the street level characters too much. The vigilantes tend to be, I ride alone, just take care of my family. And then if they don't, then their whole family life's a mess, like in Daredevil. So it's a good change of pace. I mean, they didn't try to break the mold here. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel. Chuck Dixon gave us a solid street level character, vigilante justice. Except in this particular case, he's not a vigilante for trying to protect the innocent and all that. That's kind of like just a byproduct of what he does. There's a scene in there where he's like, I'm just here for the money. And he goes, no need to die for it. And they end up opening up, and he ends up whooping some ass and whooping some butt and killing some people. So it's not like he's a noble vigilante. The only thing noble he's doing this for is his family. So maybe they're going to build on that in the series. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, Hector is a really solid character. I'm willing to say that the characters that really have my attention right now for the Rippaverse are Alpha Core, the Horseman, Zaylin, and I've got to be honest, I really enjoyed reading Dirty Deeds and the Rippazine #3. So that being said, I highly recommend the Horseman. Welcome to Florespark. If it's as good, if this is where they're going with the Horseman character, I'm all for it. 5 out of 5. My only negative about this is, if I had to be critical of anything, I think they could have left. They could have had better. They could have had a little more action with the two main bad guys. I think it was too brief of a fight scene, but it's just the beginning. There could be more. So not overly critical of that. I do not like the square box format. I just don't. I get it, but I like the floppy. But it is what it is. I don't care. Give me more of this. I'll keep buying it. That being said, later Gators.